trial lawyers and social change advocates like Mark Mueller are the fighter pilots and emergency room surgeons of the law and society. Their passion is to fight for truth and justice. They seek to resolve the most important social ills of our time, or those resulting in injustice. Mark successfully seeks relief and vindication for shattered lives and seemingly lost souls. His compassion, warmth, love, and determination of the human spirit is neither imagined nor contrived. His purpose is and has always been to promote justice and fairness for injured persons, safeguards victims' rights, and exercise the opportunity to help guide the hands of justice, especially when people's lives have been destroyed, families ruined, dreams lost, or widespread societal change and reform are needed. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said about leaders like Mark, "The ultimate measure of any man is not how they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but how they stand in moments of challenge and controversy." Mark is a living embodiment of Rudyard Kipling's definition of a man in his poem, If you keep your head when all others are losing theirs and blaming you, the world will be yours and everything in it. What's more, you'll be a man, my son. President Teddy Roosevelt's life shows that hard work, tenacity, and a desire to do the right thing can get you far in life. That is the central theme of Mark's life as exemplified in the most memorable section of Roosevelt's Citizen in a Republic speech. The man in the arena tells us that. The man we should praise is the man who's out there fighting the big battles, even if those battles appear insurmountable. Since founding Mueller Law in 1992, Mark has been known for his unconventional style, as well as his optimism, focus, and imaginative approach to problems and solutions so he could take on the cases nobody else would. His main focus is on finding creative ways to reduce injustice and raise public consciousness. His firm has successfully won multiple medical malpractice cases, whistleblower cases involving Medicare and Medicaid fraud, and consumer class actions involving defective software and excessive fees by management companies. The reason that clients come to his firm is because they are guided by the principles of what's right and wrong. A brilliant courtroom tactician, Mark is renowned for his uncanny skill at handling juries, an ability proven time and time again. He can captivate juries with speeches of astonishing length and reduce hardened judges to tears. He's achieved record multi-million-dollar settlements and verdicts in a number of jurisdictions over the years, totaling nearly $400 million. Mark has been involved in a wide variety of environmental and progressive groups and causes over the years. He has served as a rape crisis volunteer counselor and volunteer legal counsel for a number of public interest and nonprofit organizations. He also attended and has taught for several years at one of the nation's finest programs for trial lawyers at Trial Lawyers College. In addition to his legal activities, he has founded and runs Voodoo Cowboy Entertainment in Austin, which produces movies, music, and art, and is located in his compound of historic buildings in Austin, Texas. In this special insider exclusive network TV special, Truth and Justice League Breakfast in Memphis, our news team visits with Mark Mueller to go behind the headlines to learn more about this amazing, real 21st century Renaissance man, to see how his new ventures, Truth and Justice League, are bringing positive change to our world. He is currently developing a comprehensive and innovative legal strategy and support network called Truth and Justice League, whose goal is to address the nation's environmentally toxic legacy in ways that hold wrongdoers accountable and lay the foundation for a more sustainable future. Truth and Justice League's mission is to restore personal freedom and democracy through active citizen involvement, jury trials, and a more informed and participatory voting public. Truth and Justice League was born through the following sentiment. This is a call to action. The planet and humanity are in existential crisis. Government and large corporations are not going to save us. It's time for we the people to step up, rise together, and contribute our own unique talents for the benefit of all. You are not alone. We are many, and together we are powerful. The Truth and Justice League, through our friends and allies, artists, scientists, lawyers, healers, innovators, community activists, and thought leaders, inform, connects, inspires, and empowers the ordinary heroes feeling the call of destiny to create a better world. The universe favors the hero. In a similar vein to his children's poetry book, Unicorn Park, The Fabulous Foxes and the Shape-Shifting Chihuahua are being written to empower this generation's children to aim to be the best version of themselves, to put good into the world, to protect, love, and serve Mother Nature, and to acknowledge and appreciate the positives in each day, not getting caught up in negative thoughts, social media, or material items. Breakfast in Memphis, Volume 4, will be a continuation of his Breakfast in Memphis series that evaluates and comments on the current state of political, social, and environmental affairs. This is the Insider Exclusive, live from Austin, Texas. It is my great pleasure to introduce Mark Mueller to the show. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, Steve.
We've done many shows together, and you are one heck of a trial lawyer. I think over the years you have probably won in verdicts and settlements over $400 million. In many of the cases that you have taken, dealing with the environment, dealing with medical malpractice, dealing with the truth and accountability, you have gone one step further, I would like to say, than most lawyers, trial lawyers ever did, and that's trying to make a difference in the world. And that's why you established Truth and Justice League. Tell our audience a little bit about what this league is.
Well, Truth and Justice League is, it's really a movement. It's started with a vision to try to change the world, realizing that the government is not going to save us, and the change is going to have to come from within. So Truth and Justice League was organized to motivate, connect, inspire, and empower a wide group of people, everything from artists to musicians to scientists, community activists, people in every walk of life, to improve the environment, to improve human health, and to restore human freedoms.
Yeah, now, there are many people in the world that want to make a change. They just don't know how to connect with each other, correct? And that's what your league is doing and has done, correct?
That's right. We're kind of, look at us as kind of an umbrella group, so that people aren't so separated. So that in the world of people trying to make a difference, there's a lot of them, but they don't know about each other.
And now they are connecting through this league. In a couple of other shows we've done, you featured some of the scientific breakthroughs that are amazing, that you are promoting, basically, showing the world how things can be done for the better, even art. You have written many books. You're as prolific as I am.
That's not true, Steve.
But your books have a lot of meaning, and you are a poet, you know, and I would like you to read from one of your books, especially what you talked about prior to the show, which deals with, let's get real, folks, right? Do you have that book with you right now?
This is from Universe Favors the Hero, and this one is God of War and Football. Praying to win, God's team. By law, we are all equal. By nature, we are part of the same. What God created, now he wants to be killed in his name. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic, in God we trust, because we can't trust us. That's why Jesus moved to Vegas, takes cash, pays credit, sells timeshares in heaven. Vatican Bank, commodity broker, forgiving sins, laundering money, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Now, Mother Mary, listen up. That's just one, but you know, these are poems that came in, many of them during COVID, when it was during a lockdown period of time. And they dealt with my observations that I was seeing of the world tumbling down in the absurdities of both sides praying to win football games, about watching. I knew the Ukraine war was going to ramp up when they were showing hot girls in Ukrainian military uniforms. You know, so part of this is this getting real, calling it like it is.
Now, you have also written several other books. Would you describe what these books are, especially Breakfast in Memphis?
Breakfast in Memphis Breakfast in Memphis is a series. These are the first 3 volumes of it are Universe Favors the Hero, which was written to my sons as essentially an apology for how we left the state of the world, because I was hoping that we'd do much better. But this was meant to capture the idea that now, at this point in history, let's just face it, things are not looking good. So there's 3 books. There are 4 books now, but there's 2 more coming out in a couple of weeks. Universe Favors the Hero is about encouraging the everyday person to go out there and do everything they can under the worst of circumstances to make it better. So literally go to the Campbell's, hero's journey kind of thing. That's that one. The volume 2 of Breakfast in Memphis is Midnight in the Desert, this one. And that's a description, it comes with an adult warning, because this talks about dark topics. It talks about violence, it talks about the way we treat women, the way we treat each other. It talks about how we've destroyed the environment. It talks about the ridiculousness of the political world. And it talks a lot about war and pain. So that's Midnight in the Desert. And then the last one of the first 3 series is called Colors of Love. And that just brings it around again to the humanity, and that it comes back to love. Everything's about that. So it's both romantic love, and it's about just the caring that we have for our friends and our family and the other people around us. These are illustrated by my friend Annalie, who is featured in the book. It tells more about her art. But I try to support artists. For example, you've seen there's another show on art. Those 3 are Annalie's art. And then this book, is Unicorn Park. This is actually the first one I did, which is about a magical garden where the unicorns and their friends, the griffins and the gators and the dragons and the wizard bears, they know it's safe to come out to play when certain types of cherries grow on the ground. They know it's safe to come out and they can be themselves and they won't be harmed by humans. So this is a very whimsical kind of book. And Princess Unicorn, that's her that's Princess Unicorn's a beautiful blue unicorn that always wears a crown, a tiara, and lots of jewelry. And somehow she loves to dance, but she always loses her shoes.
Like Cinderella.
Yeah, she always loses her shoes. So on the very back of the book, there's a shoe.
Yeah.
So anyway, the idea of the poetry, and the poetry was, it just came in. It came in when I was going through very tough changes in my life and observing other things going on in the world that were just not so good. And so it was how it just started coming in. It's how I got through the period of time. And then I went, well, maybe I should just publish these. And then in each of these books, it introduces the Truth and Justice League, and it invites people to join us. So it invites them. Basically, that one's the what if we just decided we were all going to play together and forgot about who's going to win the game, or who gets the best number, or who gets to do this, or who's got to do that. It's like, let's just go back to being kids, have a good time, and try to make the world better. So that's what it was. So it's a call to action, actually.
Produce some pendants for Truth and Justice League, correct?
The pendants are a version of our Truth and Justice League logo. And they came about after a discussion with a friend of mine, Patango, who is a very special and spiritual jewelry maker. He was very upset with the slaughter in the Middle East on both sides, and felt helpless to do anything about it. And I said, why don't we make a peace pendant and use the power of our logo and make it into a beautiful piece of jewelry, and then create features of that suggest peace. So we have a dove on there, but we have the dove carrying a peace rose, not an olive branch, but a peace rose.
And you designed this?
Yes. I designed it with Pendango. And then the back of it has the words, and it's done intentionally with prayer. So it prays intention into it. On the back of it has the word peace in Arabic, Hebrew, and English, over and over.
Now, you have some upcoming work. One of them is The Fabulous Foxes. What is that book about?
Fabulous Foxes is essentially, it's an illustrated children's book. And it deals with a family of foxes, a small Dr. Fox, who's a famous doctor during the COVID era. He's about 4 inches tall. And his glamorous girlfriend, Fancy Fox, who has a fabulous shock of hair, and she loves to wear her Gucci's and all that stuff. And she has a studious sister named Rebecca, who was very prim and proper and wears glasses. And The Fabulous Foxes is the process of the Fabulous Foxes deciding that they have just had enough about being cooped up in the house and living under the pressure of fear and exhaustion. And so they take off for the Jersey Shore. And they have various adventures getting to the shore. They go shopping. They're trying on all kinds of clothes from their friend Sita at Sita Couture. And they decided that foxes indeed like pockets. So that book that's just a feel-good book.
You have another one, The Shape-Shifting Chihuahua.
Okay, so Pedro the Shape-Shifting Chihuahua. That one has to do with, it's a poem and illustrated book, again by Rosemary, who did Unicorn Park and who's doing Fabulous Foxes. And Pedro the Shape-Shifting Chihuahua is a book that starts off with a Chihuahua being tired of being afraid and not good enough. He was just tired of being shivering and afraid and alone and not good enough. And so he started trying to figure out, well, how can I make myself better? And so he underwent a process of research to find out what he could do to imagine himself to become a better dog. So he goes through a process of morphing into a much more attractive, in his view, dog, and learning to use the power of meditation and the power of visualization to shapeshift himself into different breeds of dog, gaining confidence and gaining ability as he did so. And then he said to himself, well, why should I stop with being a big dog? I think I should be a lion. And so he creates himself as a lion. And then he decided, well, why stop there? I've read about these mythical beasts called griffins. They are lions with wings. So why don't I just be a griffin? So he creates himself as a griffin. And the whole story is about empowerment. Look and going within to see what you can do, and then creating a better self.
How did these ideas come to you?
I don't know. I started off the Chihuahua story. Started off because, like, during COVID, I started looking at myself as a shivering Chihuahua. And I went, you know what? I'm living life in a shell of myself. I'm afraid. I don't go out that much. And so it started like that. And many of the other books, the Unicorn Park, the Fabulous Foxes, they started with maybe me writing a poem to cheer somebody up. Like I wrote a poem about the unicorn to my friend Denise, who gave me the initial Princess Unicorn, stuffy. And so that's how it started. So it starts usually with either I'm processing something, or I'm writing for somebody else, or I'm writing about I process relationships, breaking up relationships, what I'm looking for next, how people show up in my life. And this collection of many things are me writing poetry about people in my life or experiences in my life. They just showed up, Steve. I never started off trying to be a poet.
When you finish writing a book, what's your feeling?
Well, it feels good to be done, but my stuff comes in pieces, right? So pieces come in at a time, like poems come in individually. The process of writing poems, as you know, as a writer, when you're on a flow writing, it feels great. It's coming through you. It's not written by you. At least that's how it feels to me. And that's how the very first poems I got, I'd be walking down the street exhausted, going through some kind of, life crisis or a big case or something like that, just walking to clear my head. And all of a sudden, boom, something came into my head. And I went, oh man, that's good. I should
Start writing notes.
I started typing it on my phone. So this is the modern poet. It's like it's on my iPhone, right? There it is. And when they tend to come in like that, they come in almost perfect. You know, just a nice, it just comes in. It's like an inner voice is talking to you. And so that's what I do. And then it actually helps now. I was surprised when I showed people these things. You know, some people don't like your poetry, but they probably won't tell you that. But some people really resonate with your poetry. And I've had people say, my God, you know, that made me cry, or that made me realize I wasn't alone. And that gave me hope. That's when it feels really good.
Yeah, I find as a writer also that when I finish a book, I feel exhilarated. And then soon thereafter, I feel depressed because I'm done with it and I got to get on to the next project. But interestingly enough, and I go back writing 35 years, I read some of the work that I did 35 years ago, and I love it. And that reinforces one thing with me. I don't care whether somebody likes the book or not. It's what I wanted, and it makes me feel good. And the fact that I can go back 10, 20, 30 years and read something I really like and say, damn, that's good.
Same thing, Steve. I mean, I haven't been doing it that long. I mean, you're much more prolific. I'm just a starter. But, you know, that's right. I wrote these for me.
Exactly.
It was my own processing. And then, and now I sometimes will take my books or a collection of things and just read them. And I go, wow, it makes me feel better. It does. I like most of what I did. And that sounds like an ego thing, but
no, it isn't. You know, because you got it out of you.
Yeah, it's even better if somebody else can relate to it, right? And go, yeah, that taught me something. Oh, let me tell you one quick story about the. If you want me to share this with a clip, I can. But let me just tell you the story quickly. When I got the illustrations for Shape-Shifting Chihuahua, I was in New Orleans and I got the shape-shifting illustrations from Rosemary. They all came in and I was like, this is amazing. It showed this Chihuahua shape-shifting and meditating and looking in his bowl of water as a mirror. And I was sitting in a little hotel at the hotel bar, middle of the day, looking at these pictures. And the bartender was looking over at what I had on my iPad. And he goes, can I look at that? And I showed him that, and he flipped through these things, and he started crying.
Wow.
And I said, why are you crying? And he said, this is exactly what happened to me. He said, I was having a really hard time in my life. I'd lost confidence in myself. I was afraid. And he said, and I started going, what can I do to change? I started looking inside. I started looking in the mirror. I started meditating. I started making lists, just like the little dog did, making lists of how to do this, researching how to be a better person. And he said, you know, what happened is I discovered that I had my own inner power to change and that I was okay after all, and now I'm happy again. And he cried.
What a connection.
Very first person I showed it to.
And now you have another book coming out, Breakfast in Memphis, Volume 4. What's that about?
Well, that's going to be about the evolution of the Truth and Justice League, and it's about the new people and new things that we have going on that have been in the last year. So it's a follow-up of things, but it's an advancement of things because things are always expanding.
You are much more than most lawyers are because you've explored yourself. A lot of people are machines. They know one thing, they do one thing, and that's it. But the fact that you open up, are introspective of yourself, it makes you a better person.
Well, thank you. You know, I much of this stuff comes because of feelings of insecurity or fear or not good enough or processing my life of times when I wasn't the best person I could be. And so, you know, it's life. Yeah. And, you know, I never would have thought it would go in this direction.
Let it flow.
It's so much more beautiful, right?
Yes, it is. And you've really struck on something that a lot of people are very interested in, Truth and Justice League. Keep it going.
Thank you, Steve.